Hello and welcome, I'm Ryan, aka Mac, and today I'm going to bring you a new series of videos. This is basically where I take a snippet of newly learnt information from, say, Star Citizen Sunday or Around the Verse, RTV, and delve a little deeper into how maybe the mechanics may work, what kind of gameplay this new snippet may bring, and basically my opinions on what we have seen. Today I would like to look at radar and scanning. Now, they are updating radars and scanning and how they work, as we know these updates are to accommodate the ships and careers coming to Star Citizen. Ships like the Terrapin, the Freelancer Der, the Karak, the Constellation Aquila, the Herald, basically exploration or data gathering ships. In the upcoming months and into the next year, we'll probably see a load of these new non-combat ships coming to the persistent universe. Currently, with Squadron 42 being the priority, then, combat took priority. In Star Citizen, PU combat is not going to be the be-all and end-all. Utility ships are going to play a very important role. So the new radar, what we see, how it works basically, it's described as a golf swing, where you charge up the radar and then release it to send out a ping. Now, if your bar goes to the sweet spot, then the ping will work fine, but if you drop below the sweet spot, then it'll reset. It doesn't look like anything really happens there, other than you have to just restart again. If you go beyond the sweet spot, however, then it looks like it will fail, knock out your radar, leaving you blind for a little while and alerting others to your presence. Now, after the ping has been sent, you'll see ships within the vicinity of the radar ping, so basically the direction that you sent the ping out to, allowing you to focus one by one on each ship in order to gather the intel. Now ships will only show up for a certain amount of time. I think it's something like 5 to 6 seconds once the ping has been sent out, so you will have to ping again if you want to refocus, if you want to re-find the same ships again. So what we saw, starting with FPS, because as we know now, the FPS radar will be working very similar to how the in-flight system works, or your ship's radars and scanners work. So it looks like you switch to your scanners, which are either built into your suit or maybe an aftermarket upgrade component for your FPS outfit or your suit, something along those lines. It shows at the top you have power available. I'm assuming this is from your suit's power plant. Obviously, you get a better power plant for your suit or some sort of powered device, then you will have more power or less depending on its price. Time to scan is set to 1.0. Now, I assume this is just your basic timescale. They will be able to alter this timescale depending on how good a scanner you have. Obviously, the better quality, taking less time to scan. Now, scan progress goes from 0 to 100%. The latter will clearly reveal more information as time goes on. The countdown timer there to completion as well. Whether or not we will see this on our screens, I am unsure. We'll have to wait and see. But when it came up with the information, basically it showed the first thing being armor, so what type of armor they are wearing. The affiliation as well, so if they are, this particular guy that they were scanning was a UEE faction, so he belonged to the UEE. I'm assuming there will be other pirate factions and so forth that it will show up. Shield health as well, quite useful if you're planning to fight him. If he has full health, you may want to think again. If his shield has depleted so far, then it may be worth taking a pot. Something else to point out while they're doing this is the death ragdoll just looked so cool. They've really gone to town with that and it looks very good. Also, for FPS, they will be adding a decibel or audible signature for weapons and when footsteps. Whether or not this will be in 2.6, I am unsure, hopefully. But basically, if you are in FPS, there will be a little radar sort of telling you where the sound or the direction the sound is coming from. Anyway, from there, we looked at the flight scanners and radar. So initially it showed that you had the shield, cockpit and passengers. Once this passed 40%, it went to turret, guns, missiles, countermeasures, power plants, engine, radar, fuel tank, radiator, which I can only assume is coolers, and cockpit. So it does seem to highlight specific parts of the ship the longer you scan for. Now also after 20% worth of scanning, it told you the ship type. So this was a Freelancer class. It's affiliation again, which I assume if you're not affiliated, it will I wonder if it'll show up your particular org that you are with. Whether or not it could be that specific, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But we have seen on some of the screens in Reverse the Verse or Around the Verse that there are slavers in 2.6 as the other faction. So maybe they will be a type of faction in there. Who knows? Anyway, it also showed the hull health, the shield health, the owner, and the pilot as separate entities. So if you don't own a ship, then maybe you've stolen it or you're transporting a fugitive. So, maybe the owner is to blame for that, whereas the pilot will get a lesser sentence. Who knows? But after it got to 40 to 45%, it showed the armor status as well as the passengers. So with passengers, you had capacity, total, and type. Now at 45%, capacity was shown. When it got to 60%, it'll tell you the total amount of passengers, and then type when it gets to about 85 to 90%. I'm not sure what it means by type. We also scanned a Sabre. This could possibly have had shielding on because you didn't get as much information. All it said was the pilot's name, which was pretty early on. But after 50%, it revealed their wanted status, dead or alive. And at 65%, it said that their status was transmitting secrets. Again, I'm unsure what that means, but it seems like this would have had some sort of shielding because it didn't get half as much information as the previous scans. Now, when it comes to scanning, obviously your signatures are really important. So you have infrared, electromagnetics, and cross-section. Cross-section is basically the silhouette of the ship. So if it's on an angle, it could be bigger than if it was straight on. Whereas infrared is to do with your heat output, and electromagnetics is to do with the magnetic field that you are spreading out. But each component, being power plants, shields, coolers, weapons, every component that you can install in your ship will have some level of either IR or EM, or even both. Ship scanners basically detect the overall output of the ship's electromagnetics or infrared signal, and then send that information to the person's radar who is scanning. This is why when choosing components for your ship, you will really need to spend some time to ensure that you check not only the power output and its abilities, but the level of signature it shows. For example, if you're wanting to be very stealthy for whatever reason, whatever mission you've taken, if you choose the best power plant or the strongest shields, then your EM and your IR output will be very, very high, letting everyone see you. Now, all of these radar and scanning systems really play into careers. So not just combat, as we said before, but careers like policing, bounty hunting, smuggling, mining, exploration will need a specific style of scanner or radar to complement the role that they're intended to. So, for example, if you are a police or a bounty hunter, then your career type radar and scanner will need to be relatively discreet so as not to startle the target into running, meaning that you'll need to be careful not to overping and give the game away. Also, the intel that you'll need to scan to gather the crew or passengers on board, checking for their criminal status. There's also passive policing, so maybe if you're sort of stopped just in a trade lane, scanning cargo as it goes past, or scanning traders and merchants as they travel past, just checking for contraband. So this will need to be a way of passively just checking every ship as it goes past. Now, smugglers, on the other hand, which is going to be a career in itself, so it's not always black and white, they'll need to learn how to trick the scanners from detecting their cargo. Perhaps you'll be able to shield a smaller sort of area of your ship's cargo hold in order to hide contraband, but they will also need some early scan detection software, so if they are being scanned, they'll need to know as quick as possible so that they can do something about it, either get out of there, hide, or, counter it in some sense. Recon, so that would be generally if you are in a fleet, sending out, jumping ahead of the fleet to recon an area, scan to see who is there, jumping back and then telling the fleet. Very useful in combat, so finding weak spots of an approaching fleet or enemy, or whether, they're too powerful to attack. But also in non-combat as well, so finding maybe an asteroid field. You don't want to send the full fleet forward, using up fuel and resources when you can send one ship ahead and just checking for asteroid fields and then jumping back and letting you all know. So if you are taking the exploration route, then you will need a scanner for scanning anomalies, searching for jump points or other points of interest. Mining, maybe you will need... Well, there is a scan operator in mining who scans for suitable points to inject the scanning packages, which it's a completely different thing altogether, but they use that to find the optimal place to gather more information regarding the asteroid. Not to mention searching for the asteroid fields themselves will require scanning. Spies will obviously need to stay quiet and disappear off radar, so you'll need to have the skills to mask your signatures and learn the best techniques on how to hide from people scanning and using radars to find you. But also, something that may be overlooked as a career in itself is as a scanner operator or radar operator. If you become quite adept in your field as a general scanning operator for multi-crew ships, then you could offer your services as a freelance scanner and potentially charge quite a decent premium if your skills are high. But this isn't some sort of RPG skill where it'll increase over time. It is based on you learning the techniques. So obviously mining, exploration, bounty hunting, all these different careers, a lot of them will use specifically designed scanners which are completely different to your everyday sort of multi-role ships, which will likely to be more balanced out rather than having specialised features to them. Either way though, whatever role that you do intend to play, the use of scanners and radar operations is going to be very important. On multi-crew ships, the radar operator will be a standalone station requiring at least one crew member, if not more, to make it more effective and efficient. Becoming, again, adept in this role could pay off nicely, not only financially, but in terms of saving the lives of yourself and your crew. So scanners, radars should not be overlooked as just another station. It should actually be something that everyone needs to learn. Anyway, that's it for this video. This was kind of like an in-depth look at how scanners and radars may work. I'll do this for other features and mechanics that do crop up over time, and possibly revisit some old ones that have passed already. Let me know your thoughts if you like these videos. Also, give me a thumbs up, as that really helps me out. Do comment, subscribe, and share, and I shall see you next time.